Welcome to the e-commerce podcast with me, your host, Matt Edmondson. The e-commerce podcast is all about helping you deliver e-commerce wow. Now, I am stoked with today's guest, who is Evan Padgett from Stealth Venture Labs. We are chatting about everything you need to know to take over, yes, with subscription e-commerce. Evan is a legend, let me tell you. You're going to love this conversation. But before we jump into it, let me give a quick shout out to some of our past guests and episodes, given that we are talking about everything you need to know to take over with subscription e-commerce. So today, I thought it would be good to mention my conversation with Richard Schnitzel. If you ever saw the video, Richard was the guy with the bow tie. It's his signature look. And we got into all things automation, how to use automation to help your business. And the second episode, let me give a shout out to, and actually, this is not yet released. So you need to be subscribed to get access to this one, right? You'll be notified when it comes out. It's a conversation I'm having with Cody Bramlett, who built a subscription business in supplements. And so we're going to get into all of that. So you're not going to want to miss that either. So do check that one out. And to listen to that one, to hear to that one, subscribe. It's going to be awesome. So this episode is brought to you by the e-commerce cohort, which helps you to deliver e-commerce wow to your customers. Now, you may well have got stuck in your e-commerce business, or like me, you may have got siloed into working on just one or two areas. You know, the areas that you enjoy and you kind of forget all the other stuff. Like we liked email marketing over here and we like this bit over here, but we forgot about all the other stuff. And let me tell you, that was a big problem for us. And this is why I'm super passionate about the e-commerce cohort. It solves this problem. It's a lightweight membership group with guided monthly sprints that cycle through all the key areas of e-commerce. The sole purpose of cohort is to provide you with clear, actionable jobs to be done so you'll know what to work on and get the support you need to get it done. So whether you are just starting out in e-commerce, or if like me, you are a well-established e-commercer, I encourage you to definitely check out ecommercecohort.com. That's ecommercecohort.com. It is gearing up for its founding member launch. It is almost there, and you are definitely going to want to check it out because the offers on it are incredible for the founding members. If you've got any questions, email me directly at matt@ecommercepodcast.net with your questions, because let me tell you, I've said this before on the podcast. I'm super proud of it. I'm super proud of what's going to be happening with Cohort. I wish I had it 10 years ago. Let me tell you, I really do. So Evan Padgett is a 20-year e-commerce veteran with experience in subscription commerce. He's also got a phenomenal sense of humor. He's the COO of Stealth Venture Labs, an e-commerce marketing firm. He works with brands like Crocs, HelloFresh, Factor 75, and the list just goes on and on and on. He is awesome. He's a legend. When he's not taking over the world with subscription commerce, you'll find him hanging out with his kids, playing video games, but his true love is American football. Don't hold it against him, but he's a die-hard Denver Broncos fan. Someone has to be, right? Sorry, Evan, I shouldn't have said that. That's just me poking fun. I'm not a Denver Broncos fan. I actually have a neighbor who is a really big Broncos fan, actually, here in the UK. But me, I lived in Carolina, so I'm a Panthers fan. But there you go. We all have our cross to bear, don't we? Anyway, this is not about American football. This is about subscription e-commerce. Grab your notebooks, grab your pens, grab your cup of coffee. Here is my conversation with Evan. I am here with our very special guest all the way from Colorado in the USA, Evan, who is a 20-year-old e-commerce veteran with experience in subscription commerce. Oh yes, as the COO of Stealth Venture Labs, an e-commerce marketing firm, he gets to work with some incredible brands like Crocs, for example, and HelloFresh. So really keen to dig into this and pick his brains about this whole subscription thing. And when he's not taking over the world of subscription e-commerce, you'll find him hanging out with his kids or playing video games but his true love apparently is the Denver Broncos. Is that right, Evan? You're a bit of a diehard Denver Broncos fan, I see.
Diehard Denver Broncos fan, diehard kid at heart, still playing video games at 39 years old this year. But you do the math, in the industry for 20 years, so boom, half my life on the internet. So let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. So no wonder you're playing computer games.
Yeah, exactly.
It was
very understanding spouse.
Yeah, very. You know what? The other day I was on a trip to the States. I was in your wonderful country with my 15-year-old daughter. And we were doing a bit of a road trip, and we ended up in San Francisco. And in San Francisco, there was this place called, I can't remember the name of it, something like Antique Arcade or something like that.
Shoot.
And I said to Zoe, my daughter, I said, let's go in and have a look, and maybe we'll see some of the old sort of games. And sure enough, you walked in and there were games like from the 20s, some old pinball machines. And it was incredible. And we were walking around and I heard the Star Wars theme playing. And I just grabbed my daughter's arm and I was like, no, it can't be. It can't be. And she's like, what are you talking about? I said, it can't be. Because when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, there used to be this shop in the village where I grew up. And in that shop, you would rent your videos, a bit like, our own version of Blockbuster. And they had a few arcade machines in the back, one of which was the Star Wars Atari game, which was all sort of vector graphics. And I spent many a year playing that game. And that's the only game, Evan, I've ever been good at. I mean, the only game I've ever been good at. And so when I heard the Star Wars theme in this place, and lo and behold, there is the machine. I was like, Zoe, come on, I spent hours playing this game in the antique amusement arcade, and I was better than my 15-year-old daughter, who has obviously grown up with computer games. So I still felt pretty good about myself, but that's as much as I can help with that whole conversation.
Well, it sounds like you did the right thing. Get some playtime in. Be perfect for a subscription model. Send you one of those to your house. And therefore, look at the value per hour played. I mean, it's amazing.
Oh, it's just incredible. Do you know what? I went onto Google and I thought, I wonder how much it costs to buy one of these.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
£15,000. Thank you very much. And I was like, I can't justify spending 15 grand on a computer game if I want to stay married, if I'm honest.
Right. You have choices to make. Everyone's got their big choices.
Big decisions to make in life. So, why Denver Broncos? Did you grow up in that? Because Denver, Colorado, I suppose, is that where you are? Or
yeah, so I'm in Colorado now, but it's funny. I grew up in a state called Oregon, which is north of California, about 7 hours north of where you were in San Fran. But they didn't have a professional American football team. So I just was like, I'm going to pick a team. And I happened to like this team when I was a kid growing up. And then, lo and behold, I ended up here. And it was just kind of all a happy set of coincidences. I wasn't like, oh, now I can move to Colorado and be closer to the sports team I like. It was like, this is where I live now. I moved here from Los Angeles. And I was like, okay, this is much better for my state of mind, for a family situation. I have 3 kids, ages 2 through 8, now ages 2 through 8. It was just a much better move. And lo and behold, the Broncos play an hour away from here, so that works out well for me. And then the kids and everything are living it up and having a great time. But now it's weird because I forgot about what it's like when you live in Los Angeles. I forgot about what it's like living in a place with seasons. Like Los Angeles just kind of has varying degrees of spring and summer with a couple of rainy weeks here and there. But we just actually, no joke, it's about today. Last week, this time, it was about 24, 25 Celsius, pretty toasty.
Wow. Yeah.
It snowed Saturday.
Well, it sounds a lot like England. I'm not going to lie.
Okay, is that just what that's like? Because it is May 20th and 21st we had snow hitting the ground after it was 80 something degrees Fahrenheit in the mid 20s Celsius a few days before. So things are weird here.
Yeah, no, it's rough. You know, what can I say? We also have our own quirky weather, but you know, it it is what it is.
I've been to the UK once, and it was just, it seemed like an awesome place, but I had just a cliche, seemingly normal. The sky is gray.
Yeah,
and everything's a little bit damp.
Yeah, everything's damp. It's just, and it's grey. And no, I mean, there are a few days when it's not as grey. There's a bit of blue in the sky. But grey becomes rapidly your favourite colour.
Just, it becomes your palette. Okay, that works.
It's why every house in England, I say every house, a lot of houses have this sort of grey or white paint, sometimes beige, but it's usually that kind of paint, and everybody accents stuff with colour. You know, it'd be like the cushions bring the colour into the room, because that's how England is. It's like this is grey landscape, but there's a lot of green, which sort of accents, you know, the sky, and there's just kind of how we get colour out of things.
So if I were to go build a subscription there, then it would need to be a colorful box and a colorful product, and it would probably do well, is what you're saying?
Yeah, and it should contain an umbrella.
Can't have too many of those. That makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. So let's get on to the whole subscription thing. You are, well, I said in the intro there, you're the COO, the Chief Operating Officer in England. I assume it means the same thing in the States. Yeah. Of Stealth Venture Labs. Now, before, obviously, you're in Stealth Venture Labs, you seem to have this wild history of sort of how you got there. But what is Stealth Venture Labs? You know, we call it an e-commerce marketing firm, but is that what you guys specialize in?
Yeah, so we are a performance marketing agency managing media dollars to the millions and millions per month for all of our clients, ranging from the HelloFreshes of the world to small brands just trying to spend their first $10, $25, $30,000 in advertising. On any platform you can manage behind the screen. So all things Meta. I'm still going to call it Facebook. I refuse to call it Facebook, but you know, everything Facebook, Insta, Snap, TikTok, Pinterest, Google, Bing, you know, anything we can manage from here. I got a team to do it. You know, performance marketing experts focused on all things funnel optimization as well, creative development, which has changed quite a bit in the past few years, especially. And then we also have an incubator arm here at Stealth, which we call our Founder Lab, which is basically a place where we work with brands looking to expand their product line or launch a new brand and want to know what the market is going to think about that brand. So about a half dozen times a year, we get these experiments where brands, big and small, but usually they're either big privately held like family brands or brands you all know of that are like, hey, we want to expand into this.
Yeah.
Will you guys make an experience, a brand, and do some marketing and let us know what that looks like? And we do that in our Founder Lab side. So if you have an idea, or if you're part of a big brand that has an idea, instead of buying the inventory, hiring the team, sinking $1 million into it before you even get it off the ground, we have brands that'll come to us and say, tell us what that looks like first. Tell us, like, what does our pricing need to be? What does the promotionality look? And we spend real advertising dollars to get customers to sign up. And then when they sign up, we say, hey, you're part of a beta. You're not going to be charged. We'll give you a deal when it goes live, yada, yada. So then we can actually say, hey, here's the customer acquisition cost. Here's the pricing and the promotion and the positioning that we know works, that backs into what should be a good model. Run with it. We'll build it for you fully if you like.
Yeah.
And go on from there. So that's the other side of the house. But we're primarily the agency.
Yeah. Well, actually, that sounds a lot of fun to me, that whole incubation thing.
That's great. And we do it for our own products, our own in-house products as well. Like, we have an idea. It's like, okay, take a few weeks, launch it, and see what it looks like.
Yeah, see what people think. There's a lot to be said for that, actually, and throwing some money into things like that rather than trying to figure it all out from day one. The brand that you mentioned, HelloFresh, I am familiar with here in the UK. This is a subscription service which you sign up to, and they deliver fresh produce to your house every week or every month or whatever time frame you sign up for. So when we talk about subscription commerce or subscription e-commerce, in my head, Evan, this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking things like HelloFresh, you know, and it's you kind of sign up, you get a box, or there's a beauty one. I can't remember what it's called now, the beauty box or something like that.
Like
and
Birchbox or
Birchbox. That's the one I'm thinking of. where you sign up, you pay your $10 a month, and they send you a few bits and bobs. Is that what you're referring to when you talk subscription commerce?
So to me, I look at subscription commerce as, another way I like to say it is recurring revenue models. Really.
Okay.
So these are models that guarantee you, for lack of better words, downstream revenue from your consumers at the expense of either product or service. So now that's broadly subscription, but every business loves to have predictable forward-looking revenue, right? So when I look at subscription commerce, there is what you mentioned, the food in the box, there's stuff in a box that shows up, but then there's also services. There's also memberships that give you access. One of the companies that I was a chief marketing officer for before joining Stealth is a company in the States called Thrive Market, which is a online grocery company that worked off an annual membership model. For like $60 a year, you get access to the best prices you're going to get on these, organic and non-GMO foods that, is quote unquote, healthier for you and better for you, and sometimes necessary if you have things like, gluten intolerance and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's an annual membership model, but there's still a recurring revenue model there. So I look at subscription as broadly anything that provides recurring revenue, where customers are basically engaged in a relationship with you, opt in or opt out, that creates a predictable, forward-looking revenue model.
Okay. And so, like you say, that can be products, it can be services, it can be a membership, and it can have all kinds of different things attached to it. I guess if I'm to back up just a little bit, so if it's this sort of recurring revenue model, a predictable recurring revenue model, I suppose the clue is in that definition as to why maybe as an e-commerce entrepreneur, I should think about having some kind of subscription if I don't currently have one, right?
Yeah, I always encourage people to find a recurring revenue model, because look, e-commerce economics, you want recurring revenue anyway. You're not building an e-commerce store saying like, I'm just going to sell one of these to everybody, and that's it. Perfect. That's all I ever need to do, right? So you're already thinking recurring revenue anyway. All I'm saying is find the way to expand your service that creates a recurring revenue model that provides a mutual benefit, not just to you as a company, but to the customer as well, and creates a longer standing ongoing relationship with them, is the best way forward. So again, brands and entrepreneurs are already thinking like this. You do not build an e-commerce site to sell one thing to every person. You are trying to get 3 to 4 purchases a year. Well, subscription models kind of guarantee you that. At what expense? Maybe some more attrition. Maybe subscription's not for everybody, but the predictability that you get, your ability to grow and scale and advertise because your LTVs will be higher. You'll make more money, candidly, over the long term in 9 out of 10 situations, or 99 out of 100 probably. That's why I encourage brands to sit there and sort out what would be something I could offer as a recurring revenue. And it may not be as obvious as you think, right?
Yeah.
But that's, I always drive for that. In all of our clients that come to us, I'm like, all right, what have you guys thought about recurring revenue? If they haven't, like, let's just talk about that. We're going to still do what you need us to do, but how can we create a recurring revenue model for your brand?
Yeah.
And you can almost always find one.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? I mean, when you were talking about no one wants to sell one product to just everybody. The only thing that I can think of, I was talking to a chap called Adam Pierce, who is also coming on the show. We recorded his interview actually earlier today. He was saying he's got into one of the things he's getting into was coffins, which is probably the only product that I think of that you could sell one time to one person. But if I can be slightly flippant here, is there space? Let's say I do sell, nice wooden caskets, and is there space, do you think, for me to also think about recurring revenue, even though it's obviously a one-time sale?
This is a unique one. Let's see. What was the recurring revenue for that coffin? Well, let's see. Typically coffins got to go somewhere. So you could have a recurring revenue model on the plot of land that it's going on. Instead of buying the land itself, you could create a lease for it. There's a little bit of recurring revenue. There's other services. So, wow, this is going places. Didn't think we were going to go to coffins, but you could offer things like other things you're dealing with at if it's your coffin you're shopping for are a service that could provide support and relief to people around you. So consultative services, being able to, it sounds really schlocky, so don't, this is going to be on the internet forever on this podcast, but could you sell or potentially create a recurring revenue model on the grief counseling needed were you to pass and be placed in said coffin to support the ones around you? Yeah, maybe there's a recurring revenue model there, taking advantage of the bereaved, but not in a bad way, but just from the fact that that is generally needed. Or other end of, if you're the one going in that coffin, other things to wind down your affairs that could be once said coffin is filled, what would be some draws from an estate, for example, that would be a recurring revenue model to handle. So you might hear a siren in the background, but to handle the end of life affairs that could be reasonable as well. Coffins, that's a unique one.
No, I don't mean to be flippant or disparaging.
No, I mean, hey, we're all going to go through that journey at some point. That's just I have not been challenged with coffins on a recurring revenue model.
It's just top of mind when from the earlier conversation. But I like you. I'm sitting here thinking, well, what could I do? So there's managed services, for example. You've got to maintain the plot of land, haven't you? Could I create some kind of membership so that maybe I'm in my 50s, my 60s, I'm starting to think about it. And so I can use your services not only to pick out my casket, but also to plan my funeral, to also host my will, and you can help me with all
What about the legal services side of things? Exactly. What if you are on a plan to pay out and have your affairs covered, and that is something similar to another policy, and that, that could be actually, if you start modeling that out, that could be a really relatively low expense depending on people's life expectancy. This is really weird, but I'm here for this. But depending on their life expectancy, so say you're a 60-year-old person, but generally in good health, and you're just planning ahead and getting this stuff squared away, put them on some plan to be like, hey, any basic legal or end of life type services you need are included in this package, and you're paying for it. So you just, somebody on your behalf picks up the phone and gets things handled. So if you're creating a will and testament, if you're creating, establishing your estate, if you're somebody that has the ability or need to do that, or your finances, getting them in order and how that's going to look like, I suppose it would be a recurring revenue model that would at least come from that. Now, does the coffin company selling that, or are they creating a relationship with somebody else, here nor there? But there's a recurring revenue model involved that could exist.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I guess the point from this is it doesn't matter what you sell. There is, with a little bit of thinking, something that you can do to create a recurring revenue model out of it.
Yeah, as long as both sides are winning. That's the part that you don't want, lopsided recurring revenue models are, I think, one, they're not great. That's just the easiest way to put it. But I also think that they're not, they put a bad name on the recurring revenue model industry. And I'll give you one example that's off the top of my head right now that I've said this on a different podcast before, but I'm also I hope that this stops quickly, is vehicles becoming smarter now, as they are. You start having features that are going to be subscription. Now, everyone's got, a lot of new cars have, Sirius XM radio, right? Or they have satellite radio. That's one subscription. But subscriptions for features that are electronically blocked that could just be added on for hey, $10 a month, and you want a better braking system, or you want when autonomous driving comes out, if that is more of a subscription instead of a one-time fee or a feature, those sorts of things are going to start bothering me a little bit, if I'm being honest, because they're just the things that you truly want are only available only in a recurring revenue model. And we're starting to see that now. I've seen more and more cars come out with paywalled features. I'm not going to name the brand because I wouldn't know it off the top of my head, but there was one car coming out that has climate control settings that are not as advanced unless you pay for a subscription to their service. And I'm that's horrible. I am sorry, but that is not great, because that is a lopsided one side is winning in this type of subscription, but you find a mutual win. You provide a service that they need, that a normal person, what do they want? They want something relieved from their life. They need a little less gravity in their world. They want to not have to go to the grocery store so they get food delivered. They want to save themselves time and money. They want something convenient that they normally have to deal with, that they don't want to, showing up ready to go, and knowing that if they don't want it, they can call up and get support that they need, or email up and make that happen. Like, all you're trying to do is make people's lives better. And when you got a subscription or a recurring revenue model that does that, then you have an excellent business. So that's not trying to crap on the car industry, but that's one of those things that bothers me, or when the necessary things are put on recurring revenue model.
No, that's fair enough. I'd be hacked off with that as well. And I think you are right. Every man and his dog is jumping on the subscription model system in some respects. And I like what you say, it can't be lopsided. It has to be a win-win. Otherwise, people just aren't interested. I mean, one of the mistakes I think we made with a subscription model in one of our own businesses was we sort of went, right, well, if you subscribe to these particular products, you get them at a lower price. That's the whole reason we want you. You can buy them straight off the website, but if you want them at a lower price, we'll send them to you every 2 months. And it was just like a box we were going to ship out every 2 months or every 3 months.
Because nobody really did the subscribe and save, or they asked, why can't I get it for this price instead of subscribing?
Well, no, the issue was not so much that. The issue was more, I'd not taken into account the customers that we were serving who were very sustainability savvy.
Oh, yeah.
And so they're like, well, hang on a minute. What you're basically why can't I buy more and have it shipped one time, maybe twice a year, as opposed to buy less and have it shipped, just like every month? It's the same product, it's the same discount. I still want to buy the product. I just want to ship it less because I want to offset my carbon footprint. And that was something that I personally was not expecting. Do you know what I mean? I was a bit shocked. No, shocked is the wrong word, but do you know what I mean? I was like, oh, okay, surprised maybe.
But that is a more and more common thing, actually. So you hit on something around sustainability, and the biggest rub that has now turned into sustainability wants for subscriptions for a while is the amount of like corrugate, and especially if you partake in a meal at home company, you get a box that is lined with insulation that usually also has a couple of different frozen ice packs in it. Like, and there's reusability with the ice packs, but I mean, who needs more than a few ice packs in their life? Exactly. And then you have just so much corrugate, so many insulated boxes. That insulate is usually recyclable, but it is still being produced, and there's still a big footprint there. So one of the ways that I work on, and I'm really proud of the former company I was at called Thrive Market. Like, they've actually become, a certified B Corp and reduced their footprint down to more neutral. I think just officially their fulfillment center, a warehouse, actually got its certification to be carbon neutral, which is amazing. But that is something that is coming up more and more. And actually, you have to be, if you're coming up with a new brand right now, or you're creating a new market, which is certainly happening as well, you have to be a lot more conscious about that, because otherwise, people say like, yeah, your product's good, but what am I going to do with 30 boxes? And why am I getting a box with boxes and stuff in it, depending on what you're selling? That's a real problem that I think is going to be kind of coming to pass right now. And we'll either start getting confronted with more challenging shipping rates. And guess what? If shipping goes up, that cost goes to the consumer. Or I always think that I don't know how to do it because the economics, I've struggled with this one for a while, but like, there's got to be some way to create a business that reclaims corrugate as well, because everybody suffers from this, that orders off of the internet.
Well, you say that. There's a company that we subscribe to called Riverside, which is a bit like HelloFresh. They're an organic farmer here in the UK. And my wife subscribes to them. I have to be honest with you, Evan. I have nothing to do with it. It's all my wife.
Usually it's for us.
I just go to it. Yeah. And I just go to her every now and go, bloody hell, babe, this is expensive. But she's like, no, it's good because of X, Y, and Z. But what happens is every Tuesday morning they drop off the latest order, but they pick up all the cardboard boxes. They've designed them in such a way that they fold down, and they pick them up and they just reuse them until they really are dead. And we're like, that's awesome. So I don't have all. Do you know what I mean? They so whenever they drop the stuff off, they pick up all their cardboard from before, and I think fantastic. You know, I can see that they've thought this through. And it's one of the things that my wife loves about it is actually they've gone, oh yeah, that's really
So you could do that in smaller markets, right? So like companies trying to be here in the U.S. nationwide, they would need agents in regional areas to handle that. But I've seen that actually in a similar space of meal at home where there's not the exact same space, more like the last mile delivery services, say like the DoorDashes or whatever. Of the world, Grubhub, etc. In some like there'll be localized versions of those that will actually you could buy, for example, like Stay Hot like bags, like tote bags, and they'll like swap them out. So like they'll deliver your stuff hot in a tote bag, so you can pick it up. So they are not having to give you the restaurant's packaging other than like the container, but they don't have to use their bags, they don't have to use it and stuff like that. And then you'll just switch out bags, and then they'll take the one that you leave, you'll get a new one, and that stuff works on like local regional markets where you basically are in control of the last mile delivery. It starts, I would say, falling apart more, even though I would say Amazon could do this, Amazon being arguably one of the biggest corrugate providers here in the U.S. for sure to customers. You know, if they're doing their own Amazon delivery, which I see plenty of Amazon delivery trucks, not just the USPS and everything like that. You know, you think at some point they would try to reclaim the corrugate if you were able to leave it out there, but not existing yet.
No, I think until consumer demands it, they're just going to leave it, aren't they? They'll talk a good game, Amazon, but I think you're right. I think how complex would it be if they just made reusable packaging that I just gave back all the time? It can't be that difficult. But I appreciate England is a very different place to America in terms of size. And so, you know, it's a lot easier, I think, to do some of these things in the UK. So, that's some of the problems, I suppose. And so what are some of the other problems that you see in terms of not creating a win-win scenario? So we've talked a little bit about the packaging, sustainability. You've mentioned the car industry. Is there anything else that sort of winds you up the wrong way?
There's plenty of that. But when it comes to subscription commerce, I would say I feel like there's entrepreneurs think about subscription commerce as something they're trying to push to consumers, but it's actually the other way around. Your consumers will tell you what part of your product should be subscription, and you just got to listen. So like what irks me is when I see subscription models where I would say I'm fairly certain at this point was not backed by a data-driven decision, more just like a want to be like, I want to ship you this every month. Like nobody's going to need that much stuff every month. They're not going to need that much of your product. They are just, I know they're not. Not enough people now, are there some of every product? Sure, right? But not enough people are going to need your stuff every single month to do that. So that's one thing that irks me when I see brands doing that, where it's somebody that was of the mindset of just like, I need to create a recurring revenue, so I'm just going to put 2 of my stuff in a box and ship it every month. And I'm like, you're just going about the wrong way. Like you're not listening to your consumers. So that's one thing that bothers me. The other one, this is like a complicated one, so bear with me in the sense of like it brings out visceral emotions. Okay. I might cry. I don't know. Is subscribe and save. And subscribe and save / related, I guess, is also people that are Amazon dependent and wanting to own their own brand. They're like, there's a lot of similarities between the two, but I'm going to talk about them independently. Subscribe and save. Subscribe and save is the one thing that a lot of e-commerce brands do to try to then invalidate their need or ability to create a subscription model, because they'll say, well, we did subscribe and save and I'm giving people 5% off and nobody's taking it, so subscription is not for our product. I'm like, oh my gosh, you didn't create an experience. Like subscription is meant to be an experience. It's not enough these days to just say my stuff's in a box and you're going to get it every month whether you like it or not. That was like subscription 10, 12, 15 years ago. And trust me, I was there for that. Like that's really what that was. Now it's about creating a service and an experience for the consumer that makes them feel special, like it was curated for them, that addresses their problems more directly, and that, you know, is now effectively a monthly or a quarterly or whatever frequency bill on their, you know, bank statement. You can't just say like, oh, I'm just going to put 2 of my stuff in a box and call it a subscription now, or I'm just going to do subscribe and save and say, oh, that's my subscription model, because there's enough data that shows that people want flexibility and they'll pay a lot more for flexibility. Therefore, you're working against yourself there. But if you curate that same experience, if you say, we're going to send you my skincare product, but because of that, tell me a little bit more about your skin type. Tell me a little bit more about other skin problems or health and wellness problems you're having. And then what we're going to do is send you our hero product, which is what we are known for. But we're also going to send you 2 or 3 other products that are either experimental or curated for you. And now that makes me feel like, oh, you're thinking about like my skincare regimen or my dietary preferences. So you got to make it special. And that is one thing that bothers me, is like people that just try to go off of like the subscribe and you get 5% off or 10% off or what. Like you're not winning people with that.
That's what Amazon does, though, isn't it? And that's why everyone sort of copied it. Is they
so now talking about Amazon?
Clever idea. I'll do
you
that.
have this is something I deal with several times a year at Stealth. I had one of these conversations not more than a week ago. A brand comes to me saying, "Hey, we do X on Amazon. You know, hundreds of thousands of dollars in monthly sales in their product. You know what they want to do? They want to own their site now. They want to. They don't want to say, oh, we're still an Amazon business, but now we're going to make blah, blah, blah.com, and we want to run some advertising there, and we want to sign up our own customers, and we have our own warehouse for our main product and other products. It's subscription or not, it's just not going to work how you think it's going to, because every dollar you spend on advertising, people are going to look you up, and then boom, they're going to buy on Amazon because you have history there. You have 4-star, 5-star reviews, right? You're on Prime. Amazon's got that clout, whether you like it or not. So brands and brand owners will be like, I want my cake, and I want to have my cake and eat it too, so to speak. They want to say, I want to keep my massive growing Amazon store, but I also want to send people directly to my website and expect to beat Amazon? No, it doesn't matter what kind of subscription or deal you offer. Like the security to know that they buy on Amazon, they're going to be taken care of. That's all people are going to need. Now, I'm not saying it's the right decision for you to kill your Amazon store, but out of all my 20 years doing this, I have not seen that work perfectly, how anyone wants it to work ever. Now, doesn't mean you can't have your own store. Sure, you can get repurchasing there and everything, but if you maintain a strong Amazon presence, you're going to pay advertising to feed and improve your Amazon presence. That's the one that bothers me. Maybe slightly controversial.
I don't think it is at all, and I think you're right. I think people say to me all the time, what platform should I use to do my business on? I'm like, you want to go where your customers are going to be, right? And it's not rocket science. Sure. If your customers are on Amazon, go to Amazon. If they're on Etsy, go to Etsy. If they're on the web, build your own website. Now, yes, you should have your own website, and yes, you should build your own email list. And there's a lot of reasons why that's a good idea. And we've had guests on in the past talking about that. But fundamentally,
your customers
you go where your customers are buying, right? Like when you're fishing, you put the hook where the fish are.
Yeah. So that's a really great point. Like, I am not I've known several people that have made awesome businesses on Amazon. Now you ride the ebb and flow of Amazon in a vertical, and you have to compete for it and everything. But you can, no joke, make several. I know people that have made several like 5 to 10 hour work week type businesses, basically just supplying their stuff to Amazon, make a great brand, and it'll do well for a little while, and maybe it falls off, but at that point you've made a couple $1 million in gross revenue off that brand, or you sell it to another company and make them deal with it. But you have a decision to make when you're launching a brand. And I think a big part of that decision is, do you want to build your brand on Amazon, or do you want to build your brand yourself and then maybe consider Amazon later? There are very different cost benefit analysis pieces there, because bootstrapping a business is, guess what, not cheap. Capital markets right now, not necessarily lending out money at this exact point in time in history. But Amazon businesses can be accretive more quickly. You still have to buy inventory, but marketing is a lot less. That's all it comes down a little bit more to brand compared to acquisition marketing and building your own brand from the ground up. But it's sort of like you're also, I mean, this isn't necessarily an Amazon podcast, but in this particular case, but you're kind of beholden to how well in your capacity is on Amazon, because if you want to transcend that and say, I'm going vertical myself, that is a challenging uphill battle at a certain point, depending on your brand and what you own and what what could be copied, right? Because the rub with an Amazon is they see, oh, this is how skincare is doing right now, or this is how mixers and alcohol and spirits are working right now. And as soon as like you take your revenue away, somebody's going to come up and take that spot, or they're going to, Amazon will develop their own products in many cases and do it themselves. So point being, bottom dollar there is, as you're bringing a product to market, anybody listening to this, bringing a product to market, come in with a plan that separates if you want to build an Amazon product first, or you want to build your own brand and experience first, for subscription or not, candidly.
No, very good. And very good thing to try and understand. Can I just circle back a little bit? Like you said about a subscription service, it's not about subscribe and save. You've got to make it special, right? I thought that was a great phrase. I've double underlined it in my notebook, Evan.
Double underline, I'll take it, man.
It's right there.
Oh yeah.
It's these principles which I think we so often miss, and they're not rocket science. This is old school marketing. You've got to make the experience special. So what are some of the things that we can do or should think about in terms of?
So there's a lot here. A lot of that comes down to your CRM. So if it's how you're emailing, how you're doing text or SMS, if that's part of, which I think it should be, to anyone out there that's not doing SMS, but making sure that you, like, above all, establish a relationship with the consumer. And that is one that talks about your brand, your email presence, your organic social presence, if people are experiencing you there, that all lines up. But people sleep on organic social. Some brand owners sleep on organic social. That's a place where that's free advertising, in the sense of having an awesome organic social presence will get you extra eyeballs with your biggest fans at pretty much free, as long as you're maintaining that. Like free as in you're not having to pay for the ads behind it, right? So you got to develop a relationship. That's really what it is. A subscription is built upon a relationship, and the things that strengthen a relationship are the things that strengthen the relationship in human beings. So if I'm being honest, it's good communication. It's making sure that needs are being met by both parties. You're giving a company money, you're expecting a quality of service. And if that expectation is missed, then you need to address that with the company, right? And if the company is going to change the way it's delivering on its expectation in a way you don't like it, then you break off that relationship, right? So I look at a subscription, like an e-commerce product can just be supply and demand. It's the most basic principle of, you got a thing I want, I have money, take my money, give me the thing. Okay, great. We'll send you a receipt. You want a receipt? Cool, great. See you later. And, come back in if there's anything else. But subscription, that is a bill. That is an ongoing relationship that doesn't end after that first order. And it only ends when either party, namely the consumer, but candidly, when either party decides it's over. And as a consumer, you have an expectation. And that it needs to deliver on a few different things. And if it doesn't, it's going to fall flat. So some of the tactics I always recommend: engaging non-sales communications, talking about your company, talking about the brand you're building, the impact you're trying to make in the world. All those things to the right audience. They're not detractors. No, there's very few people that are going to be like, man, I buy from this company and what they're trying to save whales. Like, they're a bunch of jerks. Like, So like, find a little cause, find something about your company that people bring up to you, because like there's a K factor component here that with the right amount of stuff that brands are sometimes doing anyway, they'll talk about it. You're like, hey, do you buy brand X? And people will be like, no. I'm like, well, so I get my coffee from them, and it turns out that they are giving like some money back to the coffee farmers or the privately owned farms from these families in Colombia, whatever, right? Like, oh, wow. And then it creates content for you organically with people. So that's really important. So having engaging, non-sales driven content, organic, email, SMS, curation. So if your product if you have variations of it, a meal at home company is the easiest example. Every meal at home company out there, HelloFresh, Factor, Green Chef, anything, you name it, they ask you a handful of questions. What's your dietary preference? Do you have allergies? Okay. So if you're like, I don't eat fish, and you open up and you get nothing but fish dishes, you're probably not going to be pretty stoked about that, right?
Yeah.
So the same thing goes with if I'm ordering clothing, and I say, hey, my shirt size is this, whatever. I wear a size 42 shirt around the shoulders or whatever. And you're giving me stuff that is way too large or way too small or one size fits all, but it doesn't work for me. That's not living up to my expectations. That's not curated. But give me the product I want, and I know that there's multiple sizes of it. Also include a little printout in there saying like, hey, blah, 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 we picked this for you. And Evan, we know you're going to like this because you love summer and you love colors and you love the beach. So here's our product for the beach. We think you're a beach going, whatever, ocean guy. I'm a marketer.
Yeah. That likes to save whales. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'd like to save whales. No, but like you curate that experience, make it something that feels special, makes it feel like, hey, somebody over there cares about me, even if it's just an illusion, even if it's just AI and BI making those decisions, whatever. It feels unique, and that's what people want to do too in a relationship. If me and my wife wouldn't get along if she was just like, oh, it's you. And I'm like, hey, yeah, it's you. And then like, we have kids. Yeah, they're over there. What are they doing? I don't care. Like that wouldn't work. It takes a little bit more than that. So that's the other thing. So you curate something. If you make customers feel special, and if you engage with them in an actual like relationship building manner, and let them know about your company, and let them know about the challenges you're having, you'll find that like, hey, guess what? You might have to raise your prices someday, but because you've been transparent about them with the customer all the way throughout the way, and you give them, hey, you want to opt in. We don't want to raise the prices without your permission. We could, but we're not going to. So stay here, and here's what we'll do. We're going to give you free gift on your first couple orders once you do that.
Yeah.
You'll find that people will trust you.
Yeah.
And people are looking for reasons not to trust a company.
Yeah, they are.
You create trust, they will stay your customers forever, and they will find you 10 more.
Yeah. No, it's very, very true. Good point. Is there, I see what you're saying in terms of, the building the relationship. That's also going to build loyalty. And obviously the whole thing about recurring revenue is you want them to pay the subscription on a fairly regular basis, right? It's not a one-off transaction. But is there a way, you being the marketing guy, are there things that I need to think about where it comes to acquiring subscription customers that's maybe a little bit different to acquiring normal or non-subscription customers?
Yeah. One, your first order economics. That's the biggest difference. When you're an e-commerce company, you're focusing on ROAS, and you're never gonna buy a customer and acquire a customer with paid advertising dollars and lose money out that gate. But with subscription, if you plan it and you understand what your LTV might be based off of modeling and things like that, you acquire customers. Most subscription companies, in fact, I can't really even recall one I've ever worked on out of hundreds that entirely makes their customer acquisition cost back in margin dollars on that first order. So you are losing money on that first order, or break even before your team and salaries and everything at best. But you know that you're going to get 2, 3, 5 more orders throughout the rest of the year. And every single one of those is margin rich. You're not reacquiring them. You're not having to spend a dime and they come back. But that's very uncomfortable. That's very counterintuitive to a lot of businesses, even subscription businesses that have been around pre-internet, the gym, your utilities, things like that. You're not expected as a consumer to, lose money out the gate. So why would you think that way as a business owner? The utility company isn't going to give you, hey, don't worry, we're just going to let you have free power for like a few weeks until we figure billing out. So don't even worry about. Like, no, they're billing you the minute you're out the gate. But you have to be ready for that now with proper planning, proper financial planning and analysis, pro forma modeling, all the things you should do. You know what to expect, because subscription businesses are higher LTV, more purchasing, more product moving out the door, more transactions, have the ability to grow and continue to keep growing beyond most e-commerce companies in a predictable manner. But what you need to do is invest into it, and you got to have a grip on your numbers. And when you're a product that's selling, you're like, hey, I have $100 t-shirt, I got to get a 4 ROAS on it on an e-commerce perspective, which means I can't buy a customer for less than $25. But if you're a t-shirt of the month club selling t-shirts for $75, but maybe every month or every other month, knowing that LTV is going to be $300 to $400 a year, and your margin maybe is 50%, which in fashion, your margin's way better than 50%, but for easy numbers. So the LTV is $50 or 50%. Excuse me. LTV is $400, margins 50%. You're making $200 per customer you acquire. All of a sudden, even if you paid $100 for that customer, seems like it wouldn't make sense, but annualized, it does. You're making 25% profit margins after your advertising, right? But it's uncomfortable, and you got to have capital to do it, and that's not easy. But that's like probably the backside entrepreneurial mistake that I've seen made is you just can't be expected to make your money back if you're paying in the advertising game out the gate with that.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. And I like that thinking that actually, which is why I guess if you do think that way, you can be a little bit more creative with a slightly more expensive marketing strategy to get the customers in.
Like promotions.
Yeah.
Like you have a lot more promotionality. Like especially in certain verticals, I won't name which ones because I have clients in these, but a lot of brands are like, we never do promotions.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, okay, I hear you. But like, look, everybody that's on social, that they're taking a chance on you for the first time, they need something that shows you as a company have skin in the game. Yes, does it make my job easier and more doable, candidly, if you have like a first order 25% off instead of first order buy a bunch of stuff and and be happy about it? Sure, absolutely. But like, it also shows the consumer that you're willing to risk something and say, hey, my product is normally worth $100 per quarter, month, whatever, doesn't matter. But today you could try it for $50 because I want you to feel happy about it. I don't want you to pay full price if you're not sure, because we're new to you. In the future, we're going to be $100, but we're going to show you that that's the value every single time. And that is kind of just table stakes for a lot of advertising. It's not enough. The promo is now, marketing is now convincing people. It's not just the discount. It used to just be who has the bigger discount and I'm going to go with them. It's actually showing a discount is our commitment to saying price is not going to be an issue. We're going to eat a little bit as a company to show you that price is not an issue. And now we can also get more fun with marketing and say, hey, your first 9 meal, or you have 9 free meals over your first 3 shipments or 4 shipments or whatever, right? So it's just really important not to be stuck in like the perception that a brand that discounts is a cheaper brand. That's not entirely true, but things like fashion sometimes fall into that. Things like beauty products and things that are about aesthetics tend to fall into that category, which we just try to say, hey, at least do something like free shipping on an order of X or more, or free overnight shipping or free 2-day like give people something that makes them feel like a deal is coming, because everyone also loves a deal on the internet, and so many websites just have deals. Like that's just the internet brings deals. I didn't start it that way, I guess, but it is.
Yeah, no, that's very good. That's very good. I'm writing lots of notes now. So what do you see the future of all this, Evan? Where's the subscription commerce thing going?
I think subscription commerce is going a few different ways. There's if I think what'll come next is the continuous evolution of consumer and company communications, and flexible subscription models that are triggered by, like, let's say SMS or opt out via SMS or SMS shopping. I'm pretty bullish on long term. Something that's saying like, hey, by the way, your product's coming next week. You good with that? Yes, no. If no, then when? Because you want it to be, people want a little bit more on demand, a little bit more flexibility there. So I think that'll continue to evolve with subscription commerce. I think advertising, not just in the vein of subscription commerce, but there's a major shakeup. If anybody who's running advertising right now knows that, like, the past 2 years have been a wild ride of pandemic-driven success and privacy changes with good old Apple and Facebook. And now a real struggle to find scalable growth advertising, which I've been refocusing in. Yeah, you got to be a lot more data literate than you need to be because in-platform metrics are unreliable at best. But you also got to be more creative with your brand. This is like, I think there's a really fun stage of 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you could have a still image with a little starburst that says, today only 25% off, and be like, I'm crushing it. This ad's crushing it. What'd you do? I changed the starburst from a light orange to a darker orange. Oh, man. Like, that was crushing it. Now you got to be storytelling with your creative. You have to be creative production, more native for the platform, because Insta ads don't work the same as Facebook ads, don't work the same as Snap, TikTok, or Pinterest. So using the platforms and what people are interested in on these platforms to speak to them, on the platform that they're on. So you don't talk to somebody that you're trying to acquire on Facebook the same way you talk to them on TikTok. You will not get scale on the platform you're making creative for, or you're not making creative for. So creative has now shifted to much more of a storytelling mechanism. Your brand's got to stand for more. You got to be focused on creating a valuable relationship for the consumer a lot more. And then be smart about your marketing. So it's harder to get data these days. You're never going to get the same data picture we used to get 2 years ago, 3 years ago at this point. But you can still understand your total business economics. You can still understand the influence a channel has from advertising by running structured incrementality tests, saying, hey, we're on Facebook, IG, and Google right now. Common trio for most, right? I want to add TikTok. Okay, so here's what I do is I run TikTok at this budget for this period of time. Look at what that does to my overall traffic. Look at what that does to my CAC. Look at what that does to my order volume. And say, okay, when I run on TikTok with these ratios, don't take away budget from the other two, but run it at these ratios. This is the kind of lift I get. Now I optimize the whole thing. Now I take some Facebook budget, move it to TikTok, and does my CAC get better or worse? You have to do things you have to slow down a little bit because the instant gratification isn't there anymore. I can't do anything about it. I wish I could, but that's what it is. But what you can do is still understand the influence because, I always tell people that, like, yes, your Facebook has and will always continue to drive people to Google. You will see somebody will see your ad and then Google you and then purchase on your Google ad. Does that mean you don't want to pay for that Google ad? You probably still want to pay for that. Does that mean you're mad that you paid for that Facebook ad? No, you're happy you paid for it, even if it led to them searching on Google, right? So get a hold of your numbers as best you can to not make mistakes.
Yeah. Brilliant. Listen, Evan, there's so many questions I have and so much I could get into, but I want to be respectful of your time. Such, like I say, lots of notes, double underlined and everything. Squares, stars, you name it. We've got it.
Stars, all right. Yes.
Yeah. Boxes are the critical ones, Evan. So thank you so much. If people want to know more, right, they're going to have questions. Can they reach out to you? How do they talk to you? Go.
All right. First place, find me on LinkedIn. Evan Padgett. Not too many of us, especially ones that have big beards and stuff like this. you'll find me there. You can email me, evan@stealthventurelabs.com, or evanpadgett@gmail. I'll throw out my personal one that I check most frequently, because why not? I love talking about this stuff. And then also just check out our company at stealthventurelabs.com, see what we're up to. There's a form there. I see every form that goes through, so if you're trying to get to me, that's another good way. And just see what we're up to. We also have a really fun thing that I like talking about too, which is our Impact Lab. The last part of our 3 labs is one where we actually run a 501c3, a nonprofit organization, enabling inner city kids, young entrepreneurs. We built an academy for them to actually learn how to build a brand, launch it, set up the advertising for it, and then we actually fund them their first $5,000 to $10,000 in advertising to bring their product to market. So because we believe in building out this next layer of entrepreneurs and starting it at a young age with kids that may not have that opportunity. So looking for ways to help there. We're always looking for more thought leaders or people that want to donate or donate their time or just help out. That's also really awesome. So find me anywhere there. Happy to talk about this at all times because this industry is fun. And again, it's been half my life at this point. So here we are.
And it'll probably be the next half of your life as well.
Yeah, I mean, now we're starting to get to the 2/3 of it. You know, I'm working on that, the 1/3, 2/3, which is scary, I guess. But, you know, we'll
80-20 rule. Go for that one.
There we go. Yeah. 80% of my life on the internet to get 20% of what? Oh, anyway, we'll figure that out later.
Yeah. You can work it out. There'll be a spreadsheet which will help.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Listen, Evan, seriously, huge thanks to you for coming on the show. We will, of course, link to all of the links that you gave in the show notes, and people can get hold of you that way. Do reach out to Evan. It'd be great for him to hear from you. I have no doubt. But Evan, love to get you back on the show at some point. Such a lot of good stuff there. Really appreciate it, man.
Thank you so much, Matt. Thanks for having me. And anytime, I'm going to get more boxes. That's my goal now. Now that I know there's a hierarchy, boxes.
So there you have it. What a fantastic conversation. Another fantastic conversation here on the e-commerce podcast. A special huge thanks to Evan for joining me today. No doubt Evan will be back on the show in the future. Look out for future episodes with Evan by subscribing. And if you are new to the show and you haven't gone through the back catalogue yet, you can find it all on our newly revamped website at www.ecommercepodcast.net. There's even a little search feature, so you can go and look through some of the past episodes. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcast from, because, as I always say, we've got some great conversations lined up, and you're not going to want to miss any of them. And just in case no one has told you today, you, my friend, are awesome.